Thank you. Have a seat talking to the microphone.
Your Honor, pursuant to our agreement with security in terms of firearm safety, Mr. Rice is going to provide Mr. Haig with a box that has a firearm in it.
That has been cleared.
Yes. I suspect Mr. Haig will clear it again.
It is cleared.
However, the deputy handles this, but if you could retrieve the firearms from behind you.
Do it in public, and I will clarify that it is not loaded. Okay, the first is a real.
Mr. Kuski, are you able to take the cylinder out so you can show everyone also that it's unloaded?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
There's something important. And here is a Genex revolver.
So, Your Honor, I'm going to object.
All right, first of all, everybody's nervous because you have not demonstrated to us that they are unloaded. So before you start showing us the weapons, make sure they're unloaded, including that one that you just touched.
Sir, can you go ahead and state your full name for the record?
Lucian C. Haig, spelled H-A-A-G.
How do you spell your first name?
L-U-C-I-E-N.
How are you currently employed?
I have my own consulting firm in Carefree, Arizona, Forensic Science Services.
What does Forensic Science Services do?
I'm involved in firearms evidence examination, primarily the reconstructive aspects of shootings. Distance determinations, long-range shootings, is it a ricocheted bullet? How close was the gun when it was discharged? Those are all reconstructive issues beyond the usual identifying a bullet or cartridge as having been fired from a gun. That's something I also do, but my main focus is the reconstructive aspects of shootings.
Okay, sir, good afternoon. Can you please tell the jury your name again?
Frank Lewis Blair Kuski III,
Where do you currently reside?
Carmel Valley, California.
And what do you do for a living, sir?
I'm managing director of Blair Financial Group, Money Managers.
I want you, outside of your management in Blair Financial, to tell the jury about your experience with period firearms.
Yes. Let me check a note to make sure dates are correct. I took part in my first movies in this, which were done with
And I'm not talking about the movies. Let me just.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, let me just try to center my question.
I'm still objecting.
Okay. That a little more. I want to go just give the jury an overview of your experience with firearms, and not necessarily getting into movies yet, but your experience with firearms and period firearms, and how you obtain that familiarity.
Do you wish for the long explanation or the short?
No, the short. The short's always better.
My father was a combat MP in the Second World War. I was shooting almost from birth. I was sent to rifle camp in Butte, Montana at age 6, which is hard to imagine. I grew up around a hunting family. My grandfather was a big-time hunter.
I grew up hunting deer and pheasants with my uncle in the forests of Ohio. I had Ohio and Indiana and Pennsylvania hunting licenses ever since they were required. I was a member, I was a Boy Scout Riflery Merit Badge winner. I worked, was a member of the Kenyon College Rifle Team. Following graduation from Kenyon College, I took up firearms in a very serious way, beginning collecting and shooting. I was trained by Louis Tenenbaum, essentially right out of college, as a member of the U.S. Army Marksmanship Unit, who thought I was worth taking his time with that. I appeared in a number of little television shorts and things like that through that time period, and when I really got going on primitive firearms, and I won't even talk about self-defensive guns at this point, I was trained in combat guns. I first appeared in the George Washington television miniseries in 1984, and I was assigned my role as a surveyor in the wilderness, and of course I had my first real flintlock in my hands at that time. During the early times, had shot a lot of primitive weapons, primarily flintlocks. Black powder stuff, was very interested in that. After that, I got going and I joined a group called the 1st American Regiment in 1985, which was the premier late 18th century, early 19th century reenactors for military reenactment. And during this time, and I believe you have a nice picture of me firing cannons, I became a sergeant of artillery doing reenactment big time. And in that capacity, I appeared in lots of movies. I fired artillery. This is 18th century artillery. I fired at the 1812 Overture with Cincinnati Symphony in various performances in big stadiums and things. I also, sorry for the cough, I also answered questions for NBC Nightline fairly routinely on weapons identification, because of course I'm fairly good expert in Russian weapons and one of the largest collectors in the United States. I took part with 1st American Regiment in many different film productions, television productions, that sort of thing, which were done by PBS and I believe the History Network. These were shown at the time.
I'm on television and also became educational movies programs. They sold the rights to us, charging with bayonets to all kinds of ad agencies.
Okay, let me stop you for a second, because there's a lot of information.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I would like for you to demonstrate to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, using this exemplar revolver, the position that what had to have happened on October 21st, in your opinion, for this gun to fire. Let's show them rather than give them a verbal description.
It had to have a normally functioning, undamaged hammer. The handler, in this case Mr. Baldwin, had to get it to this position. If he let go of the hammer, it would stay as you see it here. Pulling the trigger will fire. Now you can do that as quickly as you cock it, or you can wait minutes, hours. So when I do that, if there's a live round in there, it's going to fire. The firing pin impression is going to have the full depth from this. And I've done it, if somehow I did this, I'm trying to let it down, and I let it slip, it either won't fire at all, or it makes a much shallower firing pin impression. I did that multiple times with the evidence gun and with the exemplars. I own several of these. My son owns several of them. So I could distinguish by the depth and the centering. This was a normal hammer fall from the full cock position.
But I want you to be able to take that cylinder out so we can show everyone it's clear. Is that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Gun is pointed in a safe direction. Now, if we can get this pin out, the cylinder is retained by a pin. Once that pin is removed, the gun may be put in a partially cocked position. The cylinder may be pushed out, and again the barrel's safe. You can look right straight through it. Sir, would you take that and show them all? It's empty. Is that acceptable?
It's up to the court.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
No, the deputy is not involved in this case.
Okay. And so,
It is empty. I demonstrated it's empty.
Okay.
May I return it to the
Yes.
firearm?
Okay, sir. Now the first.
Okay. I'll pass the witness.
Your Honor, I don't have any follow-up questions.
This witness is excused, thank you.
May you help me with these?
To the case.
And the next.